Hello and welcome. Happy Saturday, in my role at least. Not sure which day you're watching this, but coming to you live for workout number 4. We are going to start with what's called an inchworm to a plank. So I think on day 1, we had done inchworm to a world's greatest stretch. Today we're going to start with the same first half of the motion, and then going to a plank instead, okay? So I'm gonna start tall at the top again, feet are together. Okay, I'm going to get a nice forward fold, trying to stretch out my hamstrings as long as I can. I'm gonna walk myself down to the top of a plank. Okay, my butt again is tucked under, tummy is tucked down. I'm gonna stack down to one elbow, down to the other elbow, up to the hand, and then walk myself all the way back up. Okay, so that counts as 1. We have 8. So again, nice forward fold, slow, gradual walk out, just getting yourself woken up. Down to the elbows, stack right back up to the hands, and all the way up. As we stack up, we want to just make sure that we're pulling that hand directly under the elbow into that tight plank. We wouldn't build like the pillar of a building crooked and then expect to sit a heavy building on it, just like we shouldn't expect to pull our hands into an angled position and then stack our body effectively on top of it. So that's 4. We've got 4 more. 5. 6, good. Stack, stack. And 2 more. So we don't necessarily have to hold the plank for any significant period of time, just a couple seconds, lock it in, and then stack it all back up. Kind of a dynamic motion rather than just an isolated plank hold. Stack, 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 and all the way back up. Good. So again, just serving to get our blood flowing, loosen our hamstrings up, tighten our core up, so that we can proceed into the rest of the workout. So second, we're going to do a kettlebell suitcase deadlift, taking advantage of the fact that we just warmed up our hamstrings and our core. The kettlebell is going to sit to one side of us, and it's going to be pushed back towards my heel like this, okay? It's called a suitcase deadlift because it's only loaded on one side. So if you're thinking about walking through the airport, you typically have one suitcase rather than 2. Same thing here with the kettlebell, okay? One difference that we want to really consider when we're thinking of lower body motions, we have a squat pattern and we have a hinge pattern, okay? So we've done our goblet squats. We did a squat to an overhead press. That was our squat pattern, okay? That's a knee dominant pattern, which basically means that as we go down, our hips are going to drop below our knees, okay? Squat pattern, knee dominant. On the other hand, our hinge pattern or our deadlift pattern, we're going to think about really pushing our hips back rather than down, okay? So my hips end up staying above my knees and they push back. So it's more of a hip dominant motion. I'm getting more work through my hamstrings rather than my quads, hamstrings and glutes, okay? So as we do this suitcase deadlift, it's gonna set up on one side of us here. Okay, I'm gonna show you a few different angles. So as I go down, goals are keeping myself square and not leaning excessively to one side, okay? So our tendency is gonna be to try to lean towards the side that has the heavy weight. We wanna use our core, okay, tuck it in to resist that forward lean, or that sideways lean, I'm sorry. So we're gonna do 8 on each side. Okay, staying nice and level, pushing those hips back. I think I've got 3 more here, and then I'll show you from a different angle. So pushing on back, squeezing through, 2 more. Here, and last one, all the way tall. Good. All right, and then we want to switch over sides. Again, I'm gonna show you a little bit different angle this time, okay? So this time you're gonna get the side angle. You're gonna see how my hips stay higher than my knees and they just shift backwards so that I can get the stretch through the hamstrings, okay? We also really wanna be thinking about keeping our back nice and tight, nice and flat by tucking our core in, retracting those shoulder blades, okay? So rather than rounding our back here, we wanna think about pulling our back tight and just pushing those hips back, okay? So our 8 on the other side, we have 1, Head tucks down. I like to think about keeping eyes on my hips just to keep myself square, neutral spine, nice and safe through that back. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. Another little trick there, just as far as staying level from side to side, is thinking about taking the other hand down with you. So almost as if you were going to pick up a dumbbell or a kettlebell on the other side. As I bend over, both hands go down. Okay, if I'm here, I'm gonna have a more tendency to lean to one side. If I pretend that I'm gonna pick 2 up, I normally have a better time staying level from side to side. I have that recommendation, heaviest kettlebell that we have. I think it's the 15 or the 20. It won't be excessive, but it will give you enough just to resist that lateral lean to the one side. Okay, so third one, we are going to do another lower body, but this one is going to be the squat pattern, right? So we just did the hinge pattern that was more hip dominant. This one is going to be more knee dominant. Okay, we're going to do a lateral squat with a plate raise. So I want you to grab probably a 5 or a 10-pound plate. Starting with the 5 is a good place, and then we can move up to the 10 as we go, but a lot of shoulder work with the plate. So go ahead and grab that guy kind of like a steering wheel. You're gonna start out with a nice wide stance, okay? I want both feet facing forward, so that's one big thing. We're really gonna work through these hips, and we want feet to face forward rather than opening up and kind of letting ourselves cheat here, okay? So starting with feet wide, arms are gonna stay long the whole time, okay? We are raising the plate as we sit down into a squat, into the one side, okay? We've got 8 on each side. We really wanna think about keeping our chest up, keeping our arms long as we come forward, okay? We're not letting ourselves fold with it, and we're also not letting the arms bend to punch the plate out, okay? It's a forward raise, getting shoulder work as we go. So let's say do one more on this side. We're looking for 8. Good, and then we'll switch on over to the other side. I'm gonna give you a side angle again so that you can see this hip sits back, but my knee is bending and my hip is going ideally either to the height of my knee or below the height of my knee. Other things that we want to think about, I like to imagine that I had like a chair behind my butt cheek and I'm pushing back onto that chair, okay? So if I'm here, I'm sitting down and back onto that chair, okay? Notice my arms stay long, they don't bend at all. And then another good thing to think about is just letting that knee, or I suppose not letting the knee track outward, okay? So as I go back, notice how the knee stays in line with my toe, it's not sagging out, okay? We really wanna push back into that hip and think about sitting our weight down and back rather than necessarily to the side. So let's do 2 more on here. Long reach forward, chest stays up. And relax. Cool. All right, so great one. Again, gets the full body working. Lots of core involved too. Sneaky core. So kind of like we're doing crunches at the same time as we are doing everything else. Get the most bang for our buck. Last one in this circuit, we're gonna do a dumbbell bent over row. I think 10s to 15s are gonna be good. Start with 10s, again, creep your way up as you feel that you can. Okay, 2 dumbbells. Here, we are gonna lock our hips high into that hinged position. So kind of like the bottom of our suitcase deadlift, really. We're hinged over, our hips are locked, our back is tight. Okay, dumbbells are gonna start down here, and then we're just gonna pull back to the side. So we've got 12, okay? Keeping it nice and tight to the body. The elbows on the way back. Thinking about retracting our shoulder blades. Okay, long forward stretch so that we lengthen that lat out. And let's say 5 more. 1, nice tight squeeze at the contracted position. Last one. Good. And fully come down. As we do those rows, that's another great time just to think about eyes down on hips so that my spine is maintained nice and neutral. So notice if I'm here doing my rows and I look up, I just put a big kink in my spine, whereas if I'm here, I stay nice and flat the whole time. Okay, that's that top position that we always want to maintain. So that was round number 1. Go ahead and pause or rewind to go back through. You have it 3 times. That's a good bang for your buck. And we're kind of progressing since this is your 4th one, hopefully building up a little bit of capacity to go for another round through. So meet me back here momentarily for round 2. Yo, yo, yo. Okay, this one is a good little core circuit. We are going to need to grab out a band. Okay, this is just a moderate one. It's not super tight, but it's not super light either. Okay, and then we'll want a plate for this round 2. You can probably keep out the 5 and the 10 that you had used previously for the lunges with the raise. So first thing we're gonna do, incline mountain climbers with band resistance, okay? Grab your moderate band. We're gonna wanna lean into something. It can be the wall. The wall is perfectly fine. I've got a mirror wall here. We'll give you a little rotation. Or it can be a barbell, really, whatever works best for you. So the band is going to go around our mid-foot, okay, like so. Hopefully you can see that right there, around the sole of my foot. I'm gonna lean on into the wall, okay, and I'm gonna tuck myself into this tight plank. So I'm tucking my booty under, I'm squeezing my rib cage down. Okay, these are not for speed. I'm going to drive 1 foot forward, okay, pause momentarily, 2nd foot forward, pause momentarily, 3. Okay, we're gonna do 20 total. And as we do this, we really want to think about keeping that base glute, okay, so the leg that's on the ground, the glute of that leg, nice and tight and locked out so I'm not caving, okay? I'm trying not to pull my bottom self with me. I'm trying to keep it locked and drive up using that hip flexor and that core, okay? Bottom leg, again, you're keeping that glute squeezing, squeezing, squeezing so that it's not caving and it's not for speed. Create as much tension through the band as you drive upward as you can. And we have 20 total. Let's say about 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, good, 2 more, 5 and 6, locked in. Good, just nice tight contraction. You can think about exhaling a little bit as you come up, give you a little bit more room to contract as you kind of tuck your diaphragm down. Don't be afraid to just hold for a brief second at each position, squeezing that core in. It's not for the purpose of like pounding out some mountain climbers for speed. All right, second, banded clamshells. I believe you are familiar with because we've talked about this before as far as your hips. So same band can go up, this time right above the knees, on your thighs, here. Okay, and then we're going to fold ourselves down onto the floor. We want basically our hips to be at a 90-degree angle here. We want knees to be at a 90-degree angle, and then you can just relax on down. This is like my seductive pose, I suppose. It's always weird when I demonstrate this, but so we're tucked down, and then from here, I want my heels to be pinned together, okay? They do not move. I'm just opening myself up and resisting on the way down, okay? Again, keeping heels together, pivoting off of them, and opening up using that external rotation of the glute. We got 15 on each side. That was 5. Getting a nice little pause on the outside as we're open and there's the greatest tension through the band. And then other things you want to just keep in check is that the hips and the shoulders stay facing forward. Okay, as you get tired, you may have the tendency to try to open up here. You're just cheating yourself. You're compensating through your torso and you're not getting the external rotation through the hip where we want it. Okay, so make sure that this all stays facing straight forward. Squeezing at the top. You should feel some booty burn, maybe a little bit of hamstring, a little bit of core as you tuck down. I have lost count, so let's say 3 more. Cool. And reverse around. Other hip will come to the top. Again, we're at our 90, and heels are tucked together. So I'm driving out. 1, 2, 3. I appreciate you joining me on this 4th workout. Hopefully you've enjoyed them so far and you feel like you can go back through them on your own. You're welcome to rewatch the videos as many times as you like, which I have a feeling you will because I know you. I figure that's about 10. We got 5 more. Again, just making sure that you're doing 15 on each side and getting that slight little pause up at the top position. And relax. Cool. This guy can get stripped off completely. And we are on to the third. Third one is called a plate tap to a side raise because I don't have a better name for it. We used to do this at Eastern with the football players, and that's what it was called. So here it is. You're gonna grab your plate. Again, the one that, whatever you had used for the lateral lunges, start there. I think 5 is kind of cheating yourself a little. I think you can definitely go for 10. So we are holding this bad boy kind of like a steering wheel. We are going to lean our torso back slightly, and ideally we've got the feet hovering off the ground. If you need to do the first set with the feet on the ground to get the hang of it, go ahead, but eventually we want to progress to being here, okay, kind of in this, like if you're in yoga, is a boat position, okay, in this little boat position where we're hovering. From there, plate is gonna reach down to one side, it's gonna come up tight to my body and across and up to the other, okay, so I go down, up, and across. I'm gonna do 12 on each side. Big things here, just keeping the plate tight to my torso. I can have a little bit of rotation as I go up and across. 8, 4 more, 9, 10, 11, and 1 more, 12. Good. Same thing on the other side. I'll give you a little bit of a forward view just so you can see what's happening with the arms and the torso. But again, try to hover those feet. Find that little happy place on your butt and your tailbone that you can balance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Halfway. 10, 2 more, take that torso, full extension of the arms up overhead. And then go ahead and relax on down. Great. All right, very last thing we have is called a hollow hold or banana hold. If you're me and corny and need a better word for a visual. So we're gonna get down on your back, lying flat to start. Okay, and essentially we're gonna bridge or round ourselves up, okay, into this nice hollow position. We're gonna hold for 3 seconds at the top of each, and then we're gonna come on down, okay? So I am down on my back. Okay, my starting position is just completely flat. My arms are flat overhead, my feet are flat out. Okay, as I lift, I'm gonna lift both my arms and my legs, let's say about 6 inches off the ground. I'm hovering, 2, 3 seconds, and then down, okay? As I come up, I wanna drill my lower back down into the ground. So if I try to stick a hand under, I can't get under there, okay? It's flat, my tummy's squeezed, my butt's squeezed, and I'm holding, and then I'm down, okay? We wanna stay as long and as round as we can, again, hence the banana visual. And down, that was 3, we've got 5 more, 3 seconds at the top. 1, 2, 3, and down halfway. 1, 2, 3, down, lift, 2, 3, down. Again, this is a great one to give a little exhale at the top, just so that I tuck my diaphragm down and I contract my core, gives me a little bit more space to contract. And down, let's do 2 more. all the way flat. And last one, up, squeeze, drive that lower back down, 2, 3, and fully relax. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so you have one more time back through that core circuit, starting with the band, the mountain climbers with the band, and proceeding on through. Try to progress weight if you can. Like if you started the plate tap sideways with a 5, go up to 10, etc., etc. So, per usual, try to get a little walk in after this, maybe a little stretch, a little elliptical, depending on what season it is at the point that you're watching this, indoor versus outdoor. I love you dearly. I miss you, and I hope you enjoyed your workout today. Bye.